Hello everyone, today we have a small update in the issue of Fang Yang. For those of you who don't remember who he is the guy who was in possession of a 15-round magazine that he purchased during Freedom Week. The cops showed up at his house to look at his roommate and his living situation because he was on probation, and then performed a search on Pheng Yang's room where they discovered a 15-round magazine. Fang Yang was then charged with the penal codes that would make it illegal to possess, manufacture, sell, buy, import high-capacity magazines in the state of California. Fang Yang used the "I purchased it during Freedom Week" defense, which was initially successful. It's kind of ridiculous that it even needed to be made, because when you look at what happened when the initial Freedom Week happened regarding the magazines in the state of California, the California Department of Justice notified every single law enforcement agency in the state of California that the possession of these mags, if acquired during the time it was legal to do so, would be legal to possess and use in most guns except for fixed magazine rifle and pistols. Something interesting, I know. So, he should have been completely clear. Charges never should have been brought against him, but it took a considerable amount of time, considering the circumstances, for Fang to actually be freed. Now, is this a situation that you think could happen to you? Well, you might say something like, "Oh, well, I don't live with people on probation." That's fine. This is just one example. We also had Alan's son, who was in possession of assault weapons in the state of California, and the police found and charged him with those after his roommates had a little bit of a verbal dispute, which caused the police to show up many hours later when they weren't even there anymore. And then they decide, we're going to search the house, at which point they discovered his illegal firearms, and now his life is ruined. So it's not unrealistic to assume that a situation like that could happen to you. So this is a very important case to kind of be monitoring and watching, or at least why I think it's very important to keep up to date on what's going on. Now, before we get going though, I do want to say thank you to the sponsor of this video. It is Route 66 Shooting Sport Park down in San Bernardino, California. If you're in the area and you're looking for a new place to shoot, I highly recommend them. They do classes, they do rentals. Whether you're looking to learn how to shoot a gun for the first time or learn medical skills as far as stopping a bleed, they do all kinds of stuff out there. It's a really cool place. I'm so happy to have their support. Thank you, Route 66. So, Pheng Yang, recently he filed a complaint against the sheriff and the people involved, the deputies, because he felt that his First, Second, and Fourth Amendment rights, I believe, were being violated. And I think there's a pretty good argument to make when it comes to, were his rights being violated? It's very clear from the Second Amendment aspect, but I think you would have to do a little bit better wording of it when it comes to the First and the Fourth. This complaint alleged that they violated his rights, and they already had dropped the charges against him when it comes to the actual possession of the magazine. So now this is him going after the people who violated his rights. Unfortunately, it looks as if a motion to dismiss this complaint was filed and granted by a judge. So what does this really mean? Well, looking at it through, and I've kind of read through this whole thing and looked around what people were saying online, and again, I'm not a lawyer, this ain't legal advice, I ain't an expert in this, but it appears as if the way that the order is written is that Pheng Yang will have a chance to amend this. So if we look at the conclusion and order, defendant's motion to dismiss first amended complaint, so this is the first amended complaint, is granted with leave to amend all claims. Defendant Sheriff Boudreau, in his official capacity, is dismissed without leave to amend, and within 30 days of service of this order, plaintiff shall file any amended complaint or notify the court of his intention not to proceed with this action. So what does that mean? So Pheng Yang filed complaints against the sheriff and the deputies involved. So the sheriff is being dismissed. There will not be a chance to go after him continuing forward. But the complaint is going to have the rest of it, there will be chances to amend their argument. It's not saying that this is over. It seems as if it's kind of saying you didn't argue your point well enough and you're going to have to try again or give up. So Fang still has a chance, and this is very interesting. And the reason I think that this is particularly interesting is there's situations that happen like this all the time when it comes to people's rights being violated by the government for random circumstances where they weren't a threat to themselves or others, and it seems like the government is just choosing to go after them for the sake of going after them. This could potentially lead to a situation where there is precedent saying that there is more recourse against the police for violating your rights, specifically in Second Amendment situations. I don't know really how far this is going to go. I'm curious to see within the next 30 days if they do file an amended complaint and get more action going forward. I would love to see Fang get some justice because his life was kind of turned upside down because he owned legally one of what the state would consider a high-capacity magazine. So that's kind of unfortunate. You know, how much money did he have to spend to defend himself because the cops knew that something was legal and decided to try to blow his ass up anyway? If you're the kind of cop that would choose to enforce a law like this in a situation like this, go ahead, go home, and suck I probably shouldn't say that. This is ridiculous. The fact that there are still cops in the state of California and nationwide that are enforcing laws like this is just absolutely ridiculous to me, but it happens time and time again. It doesn't matter what state you live in, I can go up and I can pull up some sort of social media website for one of your local departments and find them violating someone's Second Amendment rights solely for possession of a firearm. Now, I'm not talking about some dude who's beating the shit out of his wife and then happens to have a gun in the home, so they charge him with some other cases. I'm talking about people who are minding their own goddamn business, happen to be in possession of a firearm, and then their life gets destroyed. This is even happening in Texas. I've heard cases where people are unaware of the actual nuances of the laws in the state of Texas when it comes to open carry, and they're getting caught because they didn't realize that some of the signs still hold weight of law. So, interesting topics, interesting things going on right now. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned anything, I would appreciate if you drop a like, comment, something, share it with a friend. This is pretty interesting to see that this is still going on. So Fang's life was kind of messed up in 2020, and things are still happening to this day, and he is still dealing with this to try to get justice, to get his what is due to him. Let me know what you guys think down below. You all know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.